Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a K7400, a 25-inch K7400 that was one of the chassis that I took in on trade from the guys at the Electric Starship and the Time Rift arcade when they came up here from Texas to visit and check things out and all that stuff. And so they brought a bunch of chassis that needed repair, and I swapped them out with some of the ones I had that were already repaired and working just so they can have some spares and get some stuff going. And the idea was I traded them out working ones for these non-working ones, and then I can have content for the channel here. So here's one of the ones that they brought. It is K7400, obviously. It says high voltage tick. So just looking it over, I already found at least part of the problem, if not the problem, just from a visual inspection. But it's already had a FJL6920 installed as the HOT, and that's the much more robust, beefier one. R765 reads the proper 33K ohms, which we'll go over all this. But I noticed something I've never seen before on these flybacks, is that it's cracked. I've never seen one of these flybacks crack like that before. And, I mean, there's not really any evidence of it arcing. There's a little white residue here and whatnot, but there's no real evidence of it bulging or bubbling or you know, high voltage arcing. But I've never seen one crack across the front like that. But we're going to try it and leave it in there and just see what it does. I've already disconnected the neck board and the remote board, so we can get that out of our way. But it's obviously had some work done to it. The linearity coil is all loose, and someone hot snotted it all together here. So they put a bunch of hot snot on top of the shutdown pot. They've changed out the, I think probably in their troubleshooting process, they changed out the U101 here for the switch mode power supply, and they've changed out the B plus pot and some other troubleshooting. They changed out the 22 microfarad cap that's in here, but I think that might be the only cap that was replaced because every other cap is original as far as I can tell. Actually, no, these two are, no, these two green ones have been replaced. So has C107, but yeah, they're still, so all of these caps are, they changed out the caps in the power supply, it looks like. Yeah, so they've been trying to figure out this, whoever worked on this previously didn't know if it was a power supply problem or a horizontal side issue, but regardless, I've already found the problem. So high voltage tick usually means either power supply issue or shorted HOT. Depends on if it's, you know, if it's tick, 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 tick. I think that's the power supply, and if it's tick, 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 it's the horizontal section. I could have those backwards, but they tick in different speeds. Tick, 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 tick versus tick, tick, tick. So I can't recall exactly which one it is, but the frequency of the ticking depends on, you know, that's why you just lift out one leg of L100 and do your light bulb test. That'll tell you whether it's your power supply issue or the horizontal side. But I've already got a video on that. I can link that down below if you're interested in how to do that, if you haven't seen that before or are new to the channel for this series of chassis. But anyway, so the first thing you want to do is, assuming you have a horizontal side, we'll go to the HOT and just see if the HOT reads shorted. So we'll grab our meter here and turn it to diode mode, and we'll zoom in here a little bit just so you can see. Alright, so our HOT is right here, so negative lead on the center. We should have 0.45-ish voltage drop to each outer leg, so we'll go to this one. Oh, 66 ohms, go to this one, 66 ohms. Well, HOT is shorted, or is it? The HOT is not shorted. In fact, the reason I'm making this video is I've got a lot of videos on this series of chassis with, you know, shorting HOTs and things like that. Part of the problem you can have is if R760 or R765 is out of spec, it can take out the HOT. If Q801 is faulty, so you can have Q801 could be faulty, taking out HOT. 760 and 765. So this chassis does not have an R760, and not all of them had an R765. Depends on the revision of the chassis, but this one does have an R765. So R760 is anywhere between 100 ohms to 100 to 500, and then R765 should be 33K across the board. Because this one doesn't have an R760, if we go to R765, it's supposed to be 33K, we get 32.8. So we know that's good. Q801, we can go ahead and test it, and let's see, diode mode, and we'll go positive lead on the far right when you have the chassis this way, and we'll see, we'll get, do I have this backwards here? Let's try the other direction here. There we go. Nope. Let's see. 0.6. Okay, so positive lead in the middle pin, and then each outer leg should be 0.6 voltage drop. Good. So different transistors read differently, but that's what you're looking for. We're just checking to make sure that it's not shorted at this point. You know, if you get resistance across there, that's bad. But so Q801 is good. R765 is good. I already know the HOT is good because of what I found before. But the other issues you can have with taking out HOT would be C121 or C119. If we look at these film caps here, C121 or C119, if either one of those are shorted, that it might not take out the HOT, but it'll make the HOT read shorted, because I think C119 or 120 is right off of the horizontal circuit. The HOT circuit, I should say. So if we check C119, go here and here. Oh, let's see, right there. 65 ohms. But again, it's going across the horizontal circuit. Both these are. Now here's C121, 65 ohms. So here's the question. Do we have a shorted HOT, or do we have a shorted C119, or do we have a shorted C121? Well, it's process of elimination. You would take the HOT out of circuit and check it out of circuit. I have not done that, but I already know what the problem is. So just assume I took the HOT out, checked it out of circuit, and it reads correctly. You put it back in the circuit, so now you go to C119. So we'll take C119 out of here. Which one of these is it? It's right here. Yeah, I was right. Let's go with this one. Okay, one leg of C119 is now lifted out of the chassis right there. And if we go to C119, now that it's out of the chassis, we can go to this leg, and we get nothing. So C119 is fine. Let's remove C121. C121 is now out of the circuit. And if we go to C121, uh-oh, 64 ohms. 73 ohms. So if we just take C121 completely out, you can see it's got a big burn mark on the side of it. And if we test it completely out of the chassis, we get 73 ohms. So C121 shorted. Now you'll remember that we checked our HOT and it read shorted. If I go back to the HOT now with C121 removed, we get 0.43, I should say, and 0.43. So our HOT read shorted in circuit when it wasn't actually shorted, because our C121 is shorted. So when you have these chassis here taking out HOTs, you have to wonder if it's Q801, R765, if you have it populated, or C119 or C121. Those components need to be verified as good before you replace your HOT if your HOT is actually faulty. So if your HOT reads shorted, take it out of the chassis, check it out of circuit. If it reads good out of circuit, you have to suspect Q801, R765 out of tolerance, C119 or C121 shorted. So in this case, classic symptom of this exact problem, C121 shorted. So I need to replace that, but for other educational purposes here, we can go ahead and put C119 back in. The C119 and C121 are the same spec. They are the same cap. So if you have a parts chassis that you want to steal one from, you can steal either one of them. I think I have one I can use, but let's go ahead and we'll do that last, because I still have to reflow and recap and all this stuff. So, oh, that's not what I want. Dingus, Dr. Dinglenut. So, in the interest of testing purposes, let's go ahead and desolder the L100 here. and do our light bulb test. And let's make sure R104 reads between 10K and 13K is what they normally read. 9.5K, that's good. Let's make sure our MOSFET is good. It must be, or our fuse would blow. But like all these MOSFETs, on all these, the pads are lifted. You can see here, it's quite common for these pads on these MOSFETs to get lifted like that, right there. So this is what happens when people take the MOSFET out and put it back in. They lift and break these pads and traces. All three of them are lifted, yeah. But it'll be fine. So let's check this. We should get 0.5 voltage drop to one leg and 1.0 voltage drop to the other. So I believe we go positive on the top pin. We should get 0.5 voltage drop to the right pin. Nope, backwards. Negative on top. There we go. 0.496 and 1.0. Okay. Okay. You know, you got on a MOSFET. You have the drain, the collector. I forget, but yeah. Just as far for testing purposes, I just say top pin, right and left pin. So that all checks out okay. Fuse is not blown, so let's go ahead and just connect our light bulb. And I'm not really interested in powering this up before I do the rebuild. I know I've talked about before, you need to, if you have the opportunity, always make sure you turn it on and power it up before you do any work to it. That way, in case something doesn't work on the back end, you know that it was working before you messed with it. But in this case, I'm not going to worry too much about it. If you guys are out there and you're doing this, I would highly recommend giving it a very good visual inspection, powering it up, and make sure everything's working before you work on it. In case something doesn't work on the other end, you know it's something you did. But I'm not going to do that in this case because I'm the amateur channel. Alright, I don't know why I have that in my hand. Let's do power. And seems solid. Yep, those have been reflowed. Okay. Well, alright. We need to hook up our meter for B+ adjustment. Positive on the same point there. Negative on the same point here. And we're hoping for B+ to be somewhere around 117. We can adjust as needed. If not, because somebody has conveniently changed out the pot. And speaking of which, trying to find my driver here. Okay, so this should work, hopefully. And here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, and 119.4. Not sure if we can see that. So let's turn this down to about 117. Ooh. We'll go 117.0. Perfect. So, okay, functional power supply, and the light bulb on the circuit discharges everything on the chassis. So let's kind of move on from here. So let's start by removing all this stuff here. And reinstalling L100 into the chassis, because if I don't do it now, I will forget. And I'll put it on the tube and turn it on. Hey, why is it not working? Oh, I forgot to solder L100 back in. If I only had a nickel for every time I forgot to do that, I'd have about $1. Let's make sure it's flush to the board. There we go. And now let's grab another C121. I can probably steal one off of a donor chassis up in the closet over here, but I'm pretty sure that I've got one here buried in this bag hell here. Yep, got one right here. Nope, well, it's got a broken leg on it. Not sure why I even have that in there then if I can't use it. Well, that appears to be the only one that I do have. And let's see, 104M, 500 volts. That's just that. What's this one? Yeah, 500 volts, 104. Well, you can see it's the same rating, but it's so vastly different. And yeah, this one obviously burned up for some reason. Not sure what would cause that. That's kind of odd, but well, let me see if I can find a replacement, because I'm not going to be able to use this one with the broken leg. Let me see if I can find one and come right back. Well, I don't have any of these spare caps. I got like 4 of these spare chassis, but this is such a common occurrence, I robbed these from all of those over the years, and I don't have any of these. But it turns out I'm incorrect. This is 104M, this is 104. They're both the same. 104 is microfarad. 104 is 0.1 microfarad, so all I need is a 500 volt 0.1 microfarad cap. Well, they don't make, from what I can tell, I went to Arcade Parts and Repair, and the highest voltage for 1 microfarad that they offer is 250 volts. So I'm going to try something here. That's why it's the amateur channel. I'm going to take this electrolytic cap. It's a 250 volt 1 microfarad electrolytic. I'm going to put this in here and see if it works, because it should. We got to determine which side is ground, which it looks like this side here is ground, and we can easily check that by just simply going to ground, which is I can go to the middle pin here of the AC connector and just touch here. That's not ground, and here is 0 ohms. So hypothetically, we should be able to simply install this electrolytic in here, and that should work. Now, is this a smart idea? Absolutely not. Will it work? Probably. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Now, I mean, the worst that could happen is this cap goes short, but just for the sake of testing, now that we have that changed out, I'm going to check Q703. Just to make sure we don't have any shenanigans going on here. That's this guy here. If this transistor is bad, it won't turn on. And because it looks like someone has done a lot of crazy rework here. So, looks like lifted pad repairs and all kinds of stuff. But, okay, diode mode. I think we'll try it this way. Nope. Okay, so all right, so positive lead and diode mode on the far right pin as you see it here, and then 0.6 to each other leg. So middle and other outer leg should be 0.6, 0.62, 0.64. So that transistor should be good. And yeah, I think I've said before I'm not going to try this before I work on it, but I think given our little experimentation here with this cap, I think I want to try it and just see what it does. So I'm going to get this all back together here, and I just want to see what happens. If this works, then hey, we figured out an alternate method of replacing these caps when they go bad, C119 and C121, but don't hold your breath just yet, because I'm gonna hook all this back up and get it on a tube and See if it does anything, explodes, works. I think we might have flyback problems too. I don't know, because there has to be a reason why that C121 shorted. So we could have, you know, like I say, I've never seen a flyback with a crack in it like that on this series of chassis. So we could have something going on there. So all right, now this is all back together. Let me get this on a tube and we'll try it out and see what we get. Okay, we're on the tube. Everything's connected. We have our anode, neck, yoke, ground, power, remote. I don't have video yet. I just want to see if this turns on and operates. If it does, then we can give it a video signal and see what it looks like. But for now, I just want to see if it turns on, doesn't explode. We're not worried about B+ right yet. B+ I'll have to readjust once we do our cap kit and reflow and whatnot, so there's no reason to even bother checking it right now. We know the power supply is functional. So let's go ahead and just fire it up and cross our fingers and see what happens here. So 1, 2, 3, and it works. And it's running. So I'm going to turn it off. We'll give it a little video signal here. I have Mortal Kombat 2 PCB connected, and I got to fix my sync wire here. It broke off the pin. Just shove it in there for now. All right. All right, 1, 2, 3. Preliminary testing indicates that we can use electrolytic in that spot. How about that? We don't have anything on our screen just yet, but this is a bit of weak tube, and hey, it's working. Look at that. Okay, we've learned something interesting today. We can sub in a 250 volt 1 microfarad electrolytic in place of either C119 or C121 appears. And we've got some type of flyback problem, if you saw there. I don't want to speak too early, but preliminary tests on that cap seem okay. Let's go in the menu here. Yeah, you can see. Let's go to our diagnostic test, monitor pattern, crosshatch. Oh man, yeah, there's something going on here with this. We got some kind of weirdness happening here. Let's start with turning brightness and contrast all the way down. Let's mess with our screen pot here. Can I get on that? Yep, and turn it to there. Fix that. And let's do brightness. Yeah, see, there's craziness happening here. Let's turn this down to black background, turn contrast up. Even with contrast, it's still there. So this is why it's important to check. I know I mentioned I wasn't going to do it, but this is why it's important to check before you work on it. Because if we still have this issue here after caps are installed, then we know we've got something going on here. But the flyback appears to be functional, at least. So I'm going to adjust our focus here, if I can. There we go. Well, it's crisp. That's pretty crisp, I must say. But yeah, still got that issue there. And it's weird, it's just right there. Well, okay, it works, and it's not blowing up, and this cap is not warm. So, hey, we've discovered something new here. That's good. Okay, so let me take this off of here. I'll cap it, reflow it, do all the neckboard rework, everything that's required on this stuff. And we'll come back here. I'll have it back on the tube unless I come across something odd or something worth showing. But otherwise, I'll come back with it on the tube again, just like this, only rebuilt, ready to go. And we'll see if we still have this weird line issue stuff going on. So turn the brightness back up. You can really see it there. Disregard the retrace lines here. I have the flyback turned up, but there's some kind of weirdness here. Anyway, so let me get that rework done. This is classic flyback here, but it could be caps. So let me get all the rework done, come back and we'll see. I'll leave all the settings adjusted just like you see it right now. Then we'll turn it back on and see what we get after I do all the rebuild. Okay, so just like that, we have all of the rebuild work complete. Full cap kit, full reflow, inspection, cleaning, neckboard rework with the realigning the heat sinks and getting all the other components around them moved away so they don't induce heat on each other. Resistors aligned, all the color pots wiped back and forth and set to about 25%. The bias pots don't like to be above about 25%, so you wipe it back and forth and put them about 25%. The drive pots can be about 50%, so 50% on the drive pots, 25% on the bias pots, and you can adjust from that point. Anything higher than about 25%, the colors like to bleed a little bit, but that depends on, of course, your contrast settings. So if you don't get enough color with them at 25, go up from there, but start at 25 as a baseline. B plus is set up to read. The B plus test point is right there in front of that cap on the little test point. We're set up to read that. And of course, if everything works, then we're going to go ahead and move over to this test point, which will right there, which is our shutdown. Make sure we can adjust our shutdown to the proper 0.1 volts DC. There's your test point for that. So let's first turn it on, make sure it at least works after the cap kit and the rework. And all of the adjustments, like I said before, are exactly where they were previously when we had the weirdness going on with the screen. So let's turn this on and see what we get. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it comes to life, and we originally set the B plus to 117.0 with the light bulb, and we're at 117.6 on the actual tube, so that's fantastic. Don't need to mess with that. And let's make sure we actually get an image here. And yes, the tube's a bit tired, that's why it's a test tube. But while that's warming up here, let's move our test point, our lead here, over to our other test point for our shutdown. And let's make sure our shutdown is 0.1. See, we're at 0.04, so we need to adjust this pot here until we get to 0.1. Oh, too much. Close enough. 0.09, 0.1. Perfect. Okay. Now, no, we still have this issue. Oh, let me turn the contrast all the way down, brightness all the way down. We'll turn our flyback down. Okay. Oh, I lost my sync wire. Let's turn our flyback down to roughly there. My sync wire popped out here. So that's where we'll have it here, if it focus. As you can see, it's just barely up. Now let's turn up our brightness. Now see, this is, I still think we have a flyback issue because we still have this problem. Turn the brightness down, contrast up. Well, I mean, oh no, it's there's this line through the middle of it. If I turn the brightness down to make that go away, that's where I have to have the brightness for that line to be gone. So I think what we're going to do here is change that flyback out. I think there's something going on with that flyback. At least we can, if it's still there, we can at least put the original back in, because it's obviously better to have an original. But yeah, there's still something going on here, and I'll be darned if I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, you can clearly see this line down the middle and the retrace lines. If I turn this back down a little more here, let's go there with it. That line is gone. Brightness is all the way maxed. Contrast is all the way maxed. Yeah, so I have to have the image real dark for those lines to be gone. Let me change the flyback out and just see if that's the cause of our issue or not. If so, I'll have to just throw that in the garbage and go with the replacements. Let me get that changed out to a new one, see if that solves this issue. Okay, so old flyback is out. As you can see, this has got the one with the crack in there. A brand new one's installed. I've got the screen pot turned up to about 25% of the, because they'd come brand new with the flyback the screen pot all the way down. So we turned it about a quarter turn, and we'll see what that does. So okay, first let's see if it even turns back on. Then we'll assess from there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's a good sign. Now we'll have to wait until we get an image here. Now wait, brightness and contrast, we'll turn them all the way up just until we get an image here. And yes, we have an image. We're gonna have to adjust focus, obviously. So let's see if we can do that. Oh, something's not right, because that's with focus all the way to the right. If I go to the left, no, something's not right. This flyback may be bad, because let's turn the screen pod up, just see if that does anything. Hang on. I gotta get the other side here. Okay, but you can see here, maybe there's some type of symbiosis between, nope. Oh man, let's go into the menu here. This flyback's no good. So you can see how out of focus this is. That's what the that's what the focus pot turned completely clockwise. And if I turn it counterclockwise, it gets a lot worse. That's all the way counterclockwise. And as we go clockwise with the focus pot, that's as good as you get. So this flyback's no good. Great. So I gotta change. This was a bad from stock. Let me take it out, throw it in the garbage, and grab another one. See what that one does. All right, flyback number 3 is installed. Here's that one that had no focus, or had focus but not correct focus control. And then the original one that had the lines and the crack in it. So flyback number 3, I got the focus set to 50% mid-range. Screen pot is about a quarter turn up from off. So let's see if it works at all and if it solves our focus problem. Here we go. Okay, it works. And again, we'll have to wait for an image here. Any day. Brightness up, contrast up. Do I not have the screen pot turned up high enough? I don't know. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now we'll adjust our focus. Oh yeah, there we go. So we got a bad flyback from stock. Well, there it goes. And I don't see any lines. Let's go into the menu here. And yep, no lines. Let's turn brightness all the way down, contrast all the way down. Screen pot up. And I'll back down, and I'll put it roughly there. Brightness back up, and contrast up. Looks great. Great. No lines, no nothing. So the original flyback, garbage. Wow, okay. Let's just get the camera on the tripod, do some adjustments here. Hang on. Alright, so diagnostic test, monitor patterns, crosshatch, vertical position. Okay, that's good. A little bit of red on top and bottom, that's good. H position. Yeah, a little scratchy pot, but it works. I'll turn our width up slightly. Another scratchy pot, turn it a little bit this way. Okay, that's pretty good. And I gotta say, that's not bad. And yep, I will say that's pretty good. We gotta turn up green slightly. Red a little bit. That's pretty good. What do you think? Good enough for quick testing. This isn't going to stay on this tube, so no reason to... Is there a blue line there? Looking through the camera, there's like a little blue line right there. I didn't see... yeah, I guess there is a little bit. Let's turn this flyback down a little bit. turn our brightness up instead. Is that blue line still there? It is there. That is weird. I wonder if that's a neckboard issue. Let's disconnect our video signal. So we got our retrace lines here, but that's because the flyback is too high. So we'll turn that down. Brightness up, contrast up, okay. And that's as high as, well, did I speak too soon? That is not much there. So let's turn that up to there and then turn our brightness down. Okay, that's a good spot there. It looks good there. That looks good. If anything, it's a bit too blue. Let's go back into the menu here. And yeah, you really don't see it here. Oh no, it is there. Oh, interesting. I condemned our factory flyback. It's not bad. Because you'll see here if I turn this one up, there it is again. There it is again. Huh. Well, I wonder if that's a neckboard problem. I'm going to grab a different neckboard because I don't see how this could be a main chassis problem. I wonder if there's something with the neckboard that's causing that. And I thought this was going to be, so if I turn the flyback down to right there, that's the limit. That's the limit of where that flyback can be for that line to be gone. Do I have more brightness control? I do, but then it gets the stupid line back. So right there is the limit of my brightness for those lines in the background to be gone. Yeah, there's nothing there. A little bit there, you can see it slightly, but that's too, well, it won't focus here. That's too dim. I'm gonna grab a different, I'm gonna turn this up to where we can see that line. There it is. You can see it right there. If anything, I'll turn it up even more here on the flyback. So there's that line. Let me grab a different neckboard, turn this off, grab a different neckboard, plug it in, and see if those lines come back or if they're gone or whatever. Let's see here. Hang on, one second. Alright, so I removed the original neckboard that was part of this chassis and I installed a replacement there. I've actually got a whole basket full of spare neckboards, so I put a different one on there, and as expected, it's not a neckboard issue. So there is something else going on here. If I turn this down, let me turn the brightness all the way down. There's the line down till the line just goes away, and then if I turn the brightness back up, the line comes back. So do my rest. I got retrace lines of some kind here. Turn the screen pot back down again. Brightness back up. Yeah, I mean, contrast is as high as it goes. I wonder if maybe playing with the color pots might do something here, because there's something weird happening. Let's put the color pots at 50% maybe? No. Yeah, these don't like being up more than about 25 to 30%. Let me turn brightness back down, contrast. That's not contrast, you dolt. See, yeah, turning the color pots up has affected the brightness here. That's weird. Let's turn that down to there. Brightness up. Oh man. Yeah, something weird's happening. I'll turn these back down to 25%. Alright. And brightness up, contrast. Yeah. So I'm not sure what's going on. I think there might be a cap that's failed in the G2 section or something. I mean, it's not that noticeable. But, well, no, the right side of, it's like the right side is brighter than the left. Something, yeah, I wonder if this needs to get that, the black wire. This may be one of those that requires that black wire around the ferrite core, like the 7500. Some of those need it, some of them don't. I wonder if that's the case here. Because that's even kind of worse now with that other neck board. It's kind of even worse. I mean, that's a good setting right there for our brightness. And look at that. Look at that. What is causing that? Huh. If I turn this off and I just leave everything the way it's set and swap out this neck board again, I don't think I've ever come across that before. I wonder if it needs that wire. I think the next step on this is to try that wire around the ferrite core and see if that helps at all. Because I have a feeling that that might be our solution here. Okay. Neck board successfully swapped back to the original one. Turn it back on. And, well, how come I don't see it now? That looks pretty good, actually. I don't see it at all. Is this because it's too dark? Well, no, not really. I don't know what's happening with this. Am I going crazy? Yeah, I don't see it whatsoever. Turn the brightness back up. Brightness is all the way up. Turn the screen pot up a little bit. Oh, well, it's... Huh. Did it go away? I mean, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. That line isn't there anymore. What in the world? Somebody please help me understand what's going on here. Am I losing my mind? Am I losing my sight? Oh no, no, there it is. Okay, yeah, see it? Okay, it's still there. It's just less pronounced with this other neck board. Huh. Well, okay, it is there. It's just not as noticeable unless you have a dark screen. It's weird. Well, let me do some testing and play around with some stuff and see if I can figure out what the cause of this is. When I find the cause and get it fixed, I'll come back. Well, I'm pretty sure I found the problem. So we have R813. Sorry, R1. R813 is a resistor that goes right across here. There's two resistors here next to each other. And R813 is wide open. This guy right there. So I'm going to get all these wires out of the way, and this is connected directly to our flyback. So it's supposed to be an 18 k ohm resistor, and you'll see here if I touch my leads together we get 0.1. If I touch the legs of the resistor, nothing. Completely open. Nothing. This resistor's wide open. Now, there appears to be some type of scorch mark on there, right? Well, right there, like it blew its guts out right there or something. But so far we got a blown or shorted C121 and an open R813. Now, we have to find a replacement, but before we do that, let's zoom in here, and you can see here that this resistor comes right off the flyback. So here's where the bottom leg here, it travels down to this point, which then goes to this point, which is connected to a capacitor, which then runs right through here directly to our flyback, which you can't see. Let me trace this out again, sorry. Okay, so here we have this pad, which comes down to this leg here, which I think goes over to this, which is a little film cap, but it follows through this way to here, which comes over to across here, which is a resistor, which then goes back to here, which then comes up to here across a jumper. This is a jumper, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly. And that goes to this point, which follows right across here to this leg of our flyback. So follow it this way, it goes across here to this point. Then, this is a test point actually. And then it goes to here across this component, down to here across this component, which goes right up to here. So I think I followed it incorrectly the last time, but regardless. So it goes right to our flyback. So that would explain a lot. Whether or not this is the direct cause or not, I can't say it, but I'm pretty sure this is probably our cause. Now I gotta find a replacement R813, which I know I've got here. Well, maybe not. They're gone off of this one, but this is a U5000. I have another U5000 here. And again, no resistors, gone. Let's see. Here we go. Boom. Actually, no. R813 is stolen off of this one. This is a K7500. So I guess I don't recall that being an issue, but apparently that's a known problem, is R813 going open, because I got one missing from this one. So what did I say about guaranteeing that I have one? I'm going to have to go on the hunt for one, because this is, I think, 1.3 ohms. That's not it. You know, I can verify that here. Let's see. Yeah, 1.4. So I have to go on the hunt here for an 18K ohm resistor, because it doesn't look like any of my spare boards in here have an 813. So let me find one and I'll come back. Alright, well, I was not able to find an 18K ohm resistor that resembles this one, so I had to take 3 different resistors and combine them in series to get to 18K. So if we look here, there's a 15K and 2 1.7s right here that are in series of this conglomeration of junk here. So I will order the correct resistor, replace it in the future, but for now, it's just, these are in series. You can see one leg goes into the chassis, then it goes through here, back through here, through this one, through the one on the bottom, and then to the other side of the through hole on the chassis. So yeah, there's 3 resistors there in series, but if we go to the bottom of the chassis and just actually measure what it shows, we will get our proper 18.63K. So that is done now. So now we need to get it back on the tube, and I will bet you dollars to donuts that this is now 100% operational, because with that resistor being wide open, especially coming off that flyback circuit, and I think it goes through other stuff here. Well, obviously it does, but I mean like the G2 circuit or something. But yeah, I think that'll fix our problem. So let's get it back on the tube and see what happens. Cross our fingers. If so, this will be 100% complete. And I went ahead and just left the replacement flyback installed, and I'll keep this factory one. I put the factory one back in the box and keep this on hand. So if something in the future happens where I need to throw in a factory one that I know is good, because we had the same problem with this one as the factory one. We know our problem wasn't the flyback, it was this over here, this resistor 813. So at least in the future I'll have one if I need it for troubleshooting. So, all right, back on the tube, let's see what happens. Okay, hopefully this is the final time here. We're all hooked up and ready to go here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, comes on. And let's wait here to get a picture and see what happens. Alright, so we get a picture, that's good. I think what I want to start with here actually is brightness all the way down, contrast all the way down. And let's just go to our test menu here and turn up our screen pot. And I think we've got it, boys and girls. Look at that. We don't have any of the horizontal lines. We don't have the vertical line. There's no washout in the background. R813 open was the cause of our problem. So brightness down, contrast down. So let's turn our screen pot back down until our screen goes a little black. Let's go right about there. I'm not sure what that looks like in the... Yeah, we'll leave the screen pot there. Turn our brightness up. Background's not black anymore. Turn it down until it just goes black. Turn our contrast up. Ooh, looking good. All right. Exit light, enter night. All right, we need to turn brightness up a little bit more. Turn our blue down. Actually, turn our green up a little bit. Blue down, or up. Yeah, that's looking right there. That's looking pretty good. And definitely nothing on the black background there as it changes. We can see here as it goes to black. Nothing. Fan-freaking-tastic. So, we had a shorted C121 and an open R813. And this is now back to life. So, alright. Obviously that R813, the other resistor next to it, must have something to do with the G2 circuit, because every one of the spare chassis that I have for this are all missing both of those resistors. So it's obviously a common failure. I just don't have no recollection of robbing those resistors in the past for anything. So obviously I must have. It's just it must be a common failure, but it doesn't fail very often. But regardless, that's it. Yeah, we'll let this run for a few moments here, and let's play around here. If anything, it's a little too bright. Let's turn the brightness down a little bit. That's better. Who can I use kicks with? Let's just do Chang Sung. Fight. And punch, 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 punch. Oh! Fight. Try to do an air friendship here. Here we go. Oh, I missed it, but that's all right. All right, so we are done. Shorted C121, open R813. So I think I learned something here. R813 to suspect if you have that line and the raster lines that you shouldn't be there when you turn the brightness up. You saw what the issue was there. If you have that problem, suspect R813 being open. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you comment down below what you think. Give the video a like, and we'll see you next time.